Alright, welcome back to my studio. Leaving Chamonix today. Damn, the mountain looks nice. So, this is the story of my first ever entrepreneurial endeavor. Extremely unorganized, unsuccessful, so many uns, right? So many not great things, but I learned a lot. So, quick backstory, I've loved cooking and baking since I was like 8 or 9 years old. I remember when I was around 8, maybe more like 7, I made my first mac and cheese from the craft box. I measured out the water, measured out everything to the T, completely unnecessary as you know. This is a means for me to just make whatever food I want whenever I want, whether my parents want to make something fancy or not. I would make pizzas, sandwiches, whatever from a young age. So fast forward 2019, I've been vegan for a few years at this point, and there aren't really any vegan cookies. You go to cafes, there's always cookies. If there was a vegan cookie, it was rare and it was like twice as expensive as the regular one, which I knew based on ingredients doesn't really make sense. The ingredients don't cost double, it's just that they're unpopular to make, I suppose. I decided to go make one. I tested out a few recipes. For those of you that know Chef Steps, I took a lot of inspiration from them. I think they had a vegan cookie. I changed a lot of things. It was extremely unhealthy. I mean, a cookie's not supposed to be healthy, but this was like particularly unhealthy. It had Crisco in it. That was the main thing that made it ridiculously unhealthy. So instead of butter, which is way healthier, I made this cookie. It was really, really good. Like really, really, really good. I gave one to my culinary arts professor. He thought it was amazing. I gave them all to my roommates. They all thought it was good, but one particular roommate said it was the best cookie he'd ever had. He's a foodie guy. He loves his sweets. So it was good. And I went to Steep Cafe, and I'm still living in Flagstaff at this point. I'm starting my senior year of college, and I go to Steep Cafe. I pitch to them. I don't know anything about pitching. I'm just like, look, I have a cookie. Do you want to sell it here? And they were down for it. I think they mostly just liked that I didn't know what I was doing, so they were open to it basically. And so yeah, I started selling them there. I tried a few other cafes. Was it Kickstand Cafe and maybe Late for the Train? I don't know if they were open yet. Anyway, long story short. Oh no, and Kawa Cafe. Even though that one ended up being like 2 batches of cookies all time. But Steep Cafe, it was weekly, or sometimes bi-weekly. I was cranking out cookies for them. The cookies were great. They initially sold well. I think they were selling them for $3.50 and I was selling them to them for $2, I think. I don't know. But my cost to make them was something like 25-30 cents, not including labor. So I was hourly, nowhere near cracking minimum wage. It was whatever, right? It was proof of concept. And I didn't know what I was doing. A core component of this story is how illegal this was. So I was living in, if any roommates watching this, apartment 8. It was a 2-bed, 2-bath with 5 people. Kitchen was like 2 of these. Right, not very big. And if you're a male who's gone through college watching this, you know the kitchen in particular, but the apartment in general, does not stay clean. The only time it is clean is if as we in the apartment would say, a female is coming over, which was very rare. Talking in the history of apartment 8, all time with 5 guys, maybe 4 times, maybe. So I'm making cookies there. Like I'm literally baking cookies that are going to be sold in a professional establishment next to one roommate reheating his questionable spaghetti that's been out at room temperature for 36 hours. Another roommate making a smoothie. It's a mess, but I loved it. And oh my goodness. I mean, there's that part of the illegalness. So I did basic research and within 5 minutes I was like, yeah, what I'm gonna do is completely illegal. Like I'm not even close to like the standards of, oh, this is okay. There's certain foods that are okay to make in an apartment setting. I forget which ones they are, but they're ones that are like extremely difficult to contaminate or go bad or moldy or rancid or whatever. Cookies was not one of them. Anyway, so making cookies there. I actually started an LLC, even though I had no idea what I was, like all I knew from just Googling, what is the purpose of an LLC? It's like, it protects you from suing. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want to get sued. So I started an LLC, that's it. No bank accounts, nothing beyond just LLC began, done. Called it Plantistry. Looking back, it's a very stupid name. Plant as in like vegan, istry is like creating cookies, chemistry, I don't know. I gotta go in a few minutes. So making the cookies and the quality control was not great. So, the worst it ever got. I was down in Phoenix it was like I was stressing over this business, even though it wasn't a big money maker. And if I fell off the face of the earth, no one would notice from a business perspective. No one would be like, holy shit, we don't have, like, the cookies sold decently. A couple times they went on 50% off, which I was actually talking to my current boss, I don't know, whatever you want to call him. We work together. And he said he's getting some returns for his product, people returning it or people canceling orders. And he's like, every single one feels personal. And that reminded me of walking into the cafe with the next batch of 12 cookies. And I'd bring them in a little Nike shoebox, which is so funny. And I'd see last batches, there was like 8 left. You know, normally there's like 1 or 0. 8 left. They're on a separate little stand. It says 50% off. And my heart just sunk. I was like, no. It hurts so bad. I mean, because there's 8 there. I plastic wrapped them actually really well, so they didn't really go stale. You know, they would take a while to go stale. But I was like, oh no, right? Like that was the beginning of the end in my head, even though it's not that big of a deal. Like you just gotta keep moving forward or improve upon whatever went wrong, right? Quality control. So I was down in Phoenix, again, stressing really a lot about this business. It's the first business endeavor ever in my life. It's like 8 at night, and I don't remember what my schedule was. I think maybe Monday I delivered, and I was there for the weekend down in Phoenix, and my brain and I was like, oh, I didn't make the cookies yet. It's 8 o'clock. I probably don't have most of the ingredients. So I'm looking at the recipe. I have it in an Excel spreadsheet, all in grams and everything, and I'm like, okay, what can I change? So I was like, okay, I don't have any Crisco, and my parents maybe had like 2 tablespoons of vegan butter, and I need like 2 cups, right, of fat. So I used olive oil. I don't know what I was thinking, cracked out or something. Olive oil is liquid at room temperature. Crisco, vegan butter, regular butter, solid at room temperature. It is it was a disaster. It was a disaster, and I still sold them. Lesson learned, don't do that. Like, look, quality has a margin of error. This was way outside that margin of error. The cookies were greasy, because the olive oil never firms up. Like, you can put it in the freezer, maybe it would firm up then, but it never firms up. It never can kind of whip into with the sugar. So I'm looking at the cookies, and they're in the tray. They're all like pooling up the olive oil. And maybe the olive oil was rancid or whatever, but the cookies had such a strong olive oil taste. And olive oil is a great flavor. I've made olive oil cake. It's delicious. But when it's a chocolate chip cookie with vanilla and espresso powder and all this stuff, and olive oil is just overpowering the chocolate and the coffee and the vanilla and everything, it's not pleasant. And they were crispy, which some people might like, but it was like crispy and then drowned in oil. It was bad. Yeah, so this is my first endeavor. It kept going on. You know, I would, I think all time I calculated at the end profit was like $800 over the course of 3-4 months. I was actually working at Steep towards the end of that 3-4 months, which was cool. It's a really fun job, honestly. Like the tips were well. I remember one time I got like $5 per tea. The tea is only like $3. It was 3 ladies. $5. Holy shit, this is nice. March 2020 rolls around, pandemic hits. I already know my business is illegal, and I'm just like, I should probably stop. So I just cut it off there. It's a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. But all in all, fantastic experience. Anyone out there who's considering starting a business, I mean, of course, don't get in trouble. But if it is slightly illegal, go for it. Okay, not illegal in maybe the drug sense or putting people in danger sense, even though in the eyes of the law, maybe I was with the safety of the food. But just try it out. Like, you really don't need an LLC to start trying something. You know, maybe you like making bracelets. Screw the LLC. Make 1,000 bracelets. Make a social media account. Start selling the bracelets. Whatever. Or you like carving wooden spoons. Screw the LLC. Screw all that. Go hard on social media. Carve out a bunch of spoons. Promote your spoons. Give them to your friends. Ask them for, you know, what do you think? Oh, I use it for my sugar, for my tea, for my coffee. It's super cool. It looks snazzy. Whatever. Definitely just get started. I really got to go. My bus leaves in 30 minutes and it's a 20-minute walk, and I don't want to be late. I gotta slam this coffee. It tastes like absolute dog shit. Oh, I have way too much coffee. Oh my god. But yeah, try starting something. You won't regret it. Did I work this amount of hours to make this amount of money? Yeah. I was in school. Luckily, my parents were paying for everything except for food at the time, so I was financially fine. And yeah, don't worry about it. Oh my Jesus.